Dr. Claire Martinez stared at the computer screen in her small office at the University of Colorado. The numbers made no sense. She had been studying ice samples from Antarctica for 3 months, and every result pointed to the same impossible conclusion. Claire rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the data again. The ice cores came from deep inside the frozen continent, some pieces over 50,000 years old. These ancient ice samples should tell the story of Earth's past. They should show evidence of volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and massive earthquakes that happened long ago. But they showed nothing. Claire picked up her coffee mug and walked to the window. Outside, students crossed the campus under a bright blue sky. Everything looked normal, but the data in her computer suggested that Earth was anything but normal. She had started this research to study climate patterns from the past. Ice cores were like history books written in frozen water. When volcanoes erupted, they left traces in the ice. When asteroids hit the planet, they created dust clouds that showed up in the frozen layers. When massive earthquakes shook the ground, they changed weather patterns that the ice remembered. But Claire's ice cores showed none of these things. For 50,000 years, Earth appeared to have experienced no major disasters at all. This was impossible. Claire knew that other planets in the solar system showed clear evidence of cosmic impacts. Mars had huge craters from asteroid strikes. The moon's surface was covered with scars from space rocks. Even Earth's atmosphere burned up smaller asteroids, regularly creating shooting stars that people wished upon. Yet somehow, no large asteroids had hit Earth in recorded geological time. No supervolcanoes had erupted. No massive earthquakes had reshaped continents. Earth seemed to live in a bubble of safety that made no scientific sense. Claire's phone buzzed. It was Dr. Ryan Patterson, her colleague from the geology department. "Claire, did you check your email?" Ryan's voice sounded excited. The ocean research team just sent their deep-sea core results. Claire quickly opened her laptop and found the message. The ocean team had been drilling into the sea floor to study sediment layers. Like ice cores, these underwater samples should show traces of past disasters. She opened the data file and felt her heart race. The ocean cores showed the same pattern as her ice samples. No evidence of major disasters. No layers of ash from volcanic eruptions. No unusual sediment from asteroid impacts. Nothing. "Ryan, this is crazy," Claire said into her phone. "Your ocean data matches my ice core results exactly. It's like Earth has been protected from major disasters for thousands of years." "That's what I thought too," Ryan replied. "But there's more. I called Dr. Lisa Brooks from the Atmospheric Physics Lab. She's been studying air samples from high altitudes. She wants to meet with us tomorrow." Claire agreed to the meeting and hung up. She spent the rest of the day checking her data again and again. Every calculation gave the same result. Earth should have experienced major disasters, but it hadn't. The next morning, Claire and Ryan met Dr. Lisa Brooks at her laboratory. Lisa was a quiet woman who studied the upper atmosphere, the thin layer of air that surrounded Earth far above the clouds. "I've been tracking unusual energy patterns in the upper atmosphere for 6 months," Lisa explained, showing them graphs on her computer. "At first, I thought it was just solar radiation or cosmic rays, but the patterns are too regular, too organized." Lisa pulled up a 3-dimensional image of Earth surrounded by swirling colors. "These energy signatures appear in specific locations and at specific times. They're not random. They're deliberate." Claire felt a chill run down her spine. "What? Do you mean deliberate?" "I mean something is creating these energy patterns on purpose," Lisa said. "The energy appears whenever there's a potential threat to Earth. Solar flares, asteroid approaches, seismic activity. Every time something dangerous gets close to our planet, these energy signatures activate." Ryan leaned forward. Are you saying something is protecting Earth? I'm saying the data suggests active intervention, Lisa replied carefully. The energy patterns are too complex and too perfectly timed to be natural phenomena. Claire thought about her ice cores and the ocean sediment data. How long have you been detecting these patterns? As far back as my instruments can measure, Lisa said. At least several decades. But if your geological data is correct, this protection might have been going on for much longer. The three scientists spent the next hour comparing their data. Ice cores, ocean sediments, and atmospheric readings all pointed to the same conclusion. Earth was being protected by something, or someone with technology, far beyond human understanding. We need to report this, Ryan said finally. Report what exactly? Claire asked. That we think aliens are protecting Earth? They'll think we're crazy. But if we're right, Lisa said quietly, this changes everything. It means humanity isn't alone. It means we have guardians watching over us. Claire looked at her colleagues and made a decision. We need more evidence. And we need to find a way to communicate with whatever is protecting us. That evening, Claire sat in her office, looking at the data one more time. 50,000 years of protection. 50,000 years of safety that allowed human civilization to grow and develop without fear of extinction from space. She wondered who their protectors were and why they cared about Earth. Most importantly, she wondered what would happen if humanity tried to make contact with the beings who had been silently watching over them for so long. The next morning, Claire made a phone call that would change the course of human history. She called Commander Jake Sullivan at the Space Force headquarters and told him about their discovery. Commander, she said, I think we need to talk. Commander Jake Sullivan read the report 3 times before he believed it. The scientists from the University of Colorado had discovered something that the military had suspected for years, but could never prove. Earth was being protected by an unknown force. Jake had spent 15 years in the Space Force, watching satellites and tracking objects that came too close to Earth. He had seen asteroids change course for no reason. He had watched solar storms that should have damaged power grids suddenly weaken before they reached the planet. His team had documented dozens of events that seemed to protect Earth, but they had no explanation. Now, Dr. Claire Martinez and her team were offering scientific proof that something was actively guarding humanity. Jake picked up his secure phone and called the Pentagon. Within hours, he was sitting in a meeting room with generals, scientists, and intelligence officers. The evidence was spread across the table like pieces of a puzzle that finally made sense. The question now is what we do about it, said General Patricia White, the head of Space Force operations. If something is protecting us, we need to know who and why. Dr. Lisa Brooks had been invited to the meeting. She stood at the front of the room with a laptop, showing her atmospheric data to the military leaders. The energy signatures follow specific patterns, she explained. They're not random. They respond to threats in real time. This suggests intelligence, not just automatic systems. Jake raised his hand. Dr. Brooks, is there any way to communicate with whatever is creating these energy patterns? Lisa nodded. I've been working on that. The energy signatures use specific frequencies. We might be able to send a message using the same frequencies. Within a week, Jake found himself leading a joint project between NASA, the Space Force, and several universities. Their goal was simple but revolutionary: make contact with Earth's protectors. The team set up their equipment at the Arecibo Observatory Replacement Facility in Puerto Rico. Dr. Claire Martinez had joined the team as a geological consultant, while Dr. Ryan Patterson helped analyze any responses they might receive. Dr. Peter Grant, a linguist from MIT, was brought in to help design the message. We need to start with mathematics, he explained. Math is universal. Any intelligent species should understand basic mathematical concepts. The first message was simple. They transmitted the numbers 1 through 10, then basic mathematical operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. They sent the message using the same energy frequencies that Dr. Brooks had detected in the atmosphere. They waited. 3 hours later, the response came. It appeared not as a radio signal, but as patterns in Earth's magnetic field. The invisible shield that protected the planet from solar radiation suddenly started pulsing with mathematical sequences. The response was far more complex than the message they had sent. It included prime numbers, geometric theorems, and mathematical concepts that human scientists were still trying to understand. "They're showing us they're intelligent," Dr. Grant said excitedly, "and they're more advanced than we are." The team spent the next week exchanging mathematical concepts with their unknown guardians. Each message became more complex. The protectors sent star charts showing the positions of planets in the solar system. They sent physical constants that described how the universe worked. Finally, Jake decided it was time to ask the big question. With Dr. Grant's help, they composed a message that asked for the location of the senders. They wanted to know where Earth's protectors were located. The response came faster this time. The magnetic field patterns showed a three-dimensional map of nearby space. A specific location was highlighted, about 2.5 light years away. From Earth, it was in the direction of the constellation Centaurus, but not near any known star system. "There's nothing there," said Dr. Amy Foster, the astronomer who had joined the team. "Our telescopes show empty space at those coordinates." "Maybe they're using some kind of cloaking technology," Jake suggested. "If they're advanced enough to protect Earth for thousands of years, they might be able to hide from our instruments." General White made a decision that surprised everyone. "We're going to send a ship to investigate." Within 6 months, Captain Amy Foster was chosen to command the first deep space mission to contact Earth's protectors. The Starship Endeavour was equipped with humanity's most advanced propulsion systems and communication equipment. The crew included Dr. Peter Grant as the communications specialist, Dr. Helen Carter as a xenobiologist to study any alien life they might encounter, and Colonel Ben Torres as the military representative. Dr. Claire Martinez requested to join the mission, but Jake convinced her to stay on Earth to maintain communication. With the ship, the journey would take 18 months using the experimental fusion drive. As the Endeavour launched from Earth orbit, Jake watched from the control room and wondered what they would find at the coordinates their protectors had provided. Captain Foster sent regular reports during the journey. For the first year, they traveled through empty space, seeing nothing but distant stars. But as they approached the target coordinates, their sensors began detecting something unusual. "There's a massive object here," Foster reported. "It's not showing up on visual sensors, but our gravity detectors are going crazy. Something the size of a small moon is right where it should be." Dr. Carter's instruments detected artificial structures. "Captain, I'm reading manufactured materials, metal alloys that don't exist naturally. This isn't a planet or asteroid. It's a space station." As the Endeavour got closer, their sensors began to penetrate the cloaking field. Slowly, a massive structure became visible. It was larger than any human construction, with graceful curves and surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. "My God," Captain Foster whispered. "It's beautiful." The space station was ancient, but perfectly maintained. Its design was unlike anything humans had ever imagined. It looked more like a work of art than a piece of technology. Colonel Torres monitored the station's defenses, but detected no weapons or hostile activity. "They're not threatening us," he reported. "In fact, I think they're welcoming us." As the Endeavour approached the station, lights began to appear on its surface. The lights formed patterns that Dr. Grant recognized as mathematical sequences. The same type of mathematical language they had been using to communicate with Earth. "They're inviting us inside," Dr. Grant said with wonder in his voice. Captain Foster made the decision that would change human history forever. "Take us in," she ordered. "It's time to meet our guardians." The Endeavour docked with the massive station, and humanity prepared for its first face-to-face encounter with the beings who had been protecting Earth for thousands of years. Jake, monitoring from Earth, held his breath as Captain Foster and her team prepared to step into the station. After millennia of protection, Earth's children were finally going to meet their guardians. The moment that would define humanity's future was about to begin. Captain Amy Foster stepped through the airlock into the alien station and gasped. The corridor stretched ahead of her like a tunnel of light. The walls seemed to be made of some kind of crystal that glowed with a soft, warm radiance. The air was breathable, somehow adjusted perfectly for human lungs. Dr. Helen Carter checked her instruments. "The atmosphere is ideal for us," she reported. "They've modified it to match Earth's air composition exactly." Colonel Ben Torres kept his hand near his weapon, but the peaceful atmosphere made him feel foolish for being cautious. The station radiated calm and safety, not threat. Dr. Peter Grant was recording everything with his translation equipment. "The symbols on the walls are mathematical," he said. "They're like welcome signs written in the universal language of numbers." The corridor led to a vast chamber with a ceiling that stretched so high it disappeared into soft light. In the center of the room stood a pillar of energy that pulsed with gentle rhythms. As the humans approached, the pillar began to change, forming patterns that Dr. Grant recognized as communication attempts. "They're trying to talk to us," he said excitedly. "The energy patterns are the same ones we've been using to communicate with Earth." The pillar pulsed brighter, and suddenly the humans could hear something that wasn't quite sound, but wasn't quite silence either. It was like music made of mathematics, harmonies that spoke directly to their minds. "Welcome, children of Earth," the voice said, though it didn't use words. The meaning appeared in their thoughts like gentle whispers. "We have been waiting for you to find us." Captain Foster stepped forward, trying to keep her voice steady. "Who are you? Why have you been protecting our planet?" The energy pillar shifted, and the voice that called itself Harmony began to tell them a story that spanned thousands of years. "We are the Keepers," Harmony explained. "Long ago, we were beings of flesh and bone like you, but we evolved beyond physical form. We became energy, consciousness without the limits of matter." The chamber around them began to change, showing images of the Keepers' history. The humans saw a civilization that had grown from primitive beginnings to incredible heights of technology and wisdom. "We explored the galaxy for millions of years," Harmony continued. "We found many worlds with life, but few with the special quality we discovered on Earth." Dr. Carter leaned forward. "What quality?" "Consciousness like yours," Harmony replied. "Most species in the galaxy are either purely logical or purely emotional. You humans have both. You can think with reason and feel with passion. You can create beauty and solve problems. This combination is very rare." The images changed to show Earth as it was 47,000 years ago. Humans lived in small groups, using simple tools and learning to control fire. "We found your world during your early development," Harmony explained. "We saw your potential, but we also saw the dangers you faced. Earth is located in a dangerous part of the galaxy. Asteroids, cosmic storms, and other threats constantly threaten young worlds like yours. Colonel Torres understood, so you decided to protect us." "We made a choice," Harmony confirmed. "We established this station as a guardian. Post, we created a protective field around your solar system. We have been watching over Earth for 47,000 years, deflecting asteroids, calming volcanic eruptions, and preventing disasters that would have destroyed your civilization. Captain Foster felt a mixture of gratitude and confusion. But why? Why spend so much time protecting strangers? The energy pillar pulsed with what felt like warmth and affection. Because we saw what you could become. We saw your potential to grow into something wonderful. Every species deserves the chance to reach their full development. Dr. Grant was busy recording everything. How many disasters have you prevented? Thousands, Harmony replied. Asteroids that would have created ice ages. Volcanic eruptions. That would have blocked out the sun. Solar flares that would have stripped away your atmosphere. We have quietly guided your planet through dangers you never knew existed. The images showed some of these interventions. Massive space rocks redirected. Away from Earth. Volcanic systems stabilized before they could erupt. Solar storms deflected around the planet like water around a stone. Your myths and legends remember us, Harmony continued. Ancient stories of guardian spirits and protective gods. These were not fantasies. They were memories of our interventions, passed down through generations. Dr. Carter realized the implications. You influenced human development. Only to prevent extinction, Harmony clarified. We never controlled your choices or your growth. We simply removed the threats that would have ended your story before it could be told. The chamber showed images of human history. The rise of our eyes. Agriculture, the building of cities, the development of science and art. All of it protected by the invisible shield of the keepers. We watched your species overcome challenges, Harmony said, with something that sounded like pride. Wars, diseases, natural disasters. You learned to work together, to solve problems, to care for each other. Each challenge made you stronger. Captain Foster asked the question that had been weighing on her mind. Are we the only ones? Are there other species you protect? You are the seventh world we have guided, Harmony replied. The others have grown beyond the need for protection. They now help us watch over younger civilizations. This is the way of the galaxy. The older guides the younger until all can stand together. Colonel Torres frowned. What happens to us now? Do you keep protecting? You? Forever? The energy pillar dimmed slightly, and Harmony's tone became more serious. That depends on you. You have reached a crucial point in your development. You must choose your next step. Dr. Grant looked up from his instruments. What kind of choice? The choice to take responsibility for your own protection, Harmony explained, and the choice to begin protecting others. The chamber filled with new images, distant worlds with young civilizations, planets facing the same threats that Earth had been shielded from for millennia. The galaxy faces a great danger, Harmony continued, a force that destroys worlds and consumes civilizations. We call them the Devourers. They are machines without conscience, expanding across the galaxy and eliminating all life they encounter. Captain Foster felt a chill. Are they coming to Earth? Eventually, Harmony replied. They move slowly, but they never stop. The older civilizations have been fighting them for millions of years. We need species like yours to join the fight. Dr. Carter understood. You've been preparing us for this. Every challenge you overcame, every problem you solved, every time you chose cooperation over conflict, you became stronger, Harmony explained. We have been preparing you to become protectors like us. The images showed a vast alliance of different species, all working together to defend the galaxy from the mechanical threat. Ships of incredible design, technologies beyond human imagination, and worlds united in common purpose. But first, Harmony said, you must prove you are ready. You must show that you can protect your own world without our help. Colonel Torres tensed. You're going to stop protecting us? We are going to test you, Harmony replied. We will gradually reduce our protection. You will face real threats and real dangers. Only by proving you can defend Earth will you earn the right to help defend other worlds. Captain Foster felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "What if we fail, and your story ends?" Harmony said simply. "But we believe you will succeed. We have watched you for 47,000 years. We know your strength, your courage, and your determination. You are ready for this test." The chamber began to change again, showing the crew of the Endeavor their route home. "Return to Earth," Harmony instructed. "Prepare your people for what is coming. The test will begin soon." As the humans prepared to leave, Harmony spoke one final time. "Remember, you are not alone. When you are ready, you will join a family of civilizations that spans the galaxy. Earth's children will become guardians of other worlds, just as we have been guardians of yours." The journey back to Earth would give them time to process what they had learned. Humanity had protectors who had watched over them for thousands of years. Now it was time for humans to prove they could become protectors themselves. The journey back to Earth took 18 months, but it felt like a lifetime to Captain Amy Foster and her crew. They carried with them the most important news in human history, and the weight of responsibility was almost crushing. Dr. Peter Grant spent most of the trip organizing the massive amount of data they had collected. The recordings of their conversations with Harmony filled hundreds of hours of storage. The images of the Keeper Station and the Galactic Alliance would change how humans saw their place in the universe. How do we tell 7 billion people that they've been protected by aliens for 47,000 years? Dr. Helen Carter asked during one of their daily meetings. Colonel Ben Torres looked up from his military reports. "More importantly, how do we tell them that the protection is about to end?" Captain Foster stared out the window at the stars. "We tell them the truth. We show them the evidence. And we help them prepare for what's coming." When the Endeavor finally reached Earth orbit, the crew was met by a fleet of ships from every major nation. The secret of their mission had been impossible to keep. News of their contact with alien guardians had leaked, and the world was waiting for answers. Commander Jake Sullivan was the first to board the ship when it docked with the International Space Station. He found Captain Foster in the communications room, sending her final report to Earth. "Amy, the whole world is watching," Jake said. "Presidents, prime ministers, and billions of people want to know what you found out there." Captain Foster handed him a data storage device. "Everything we learned is on there. The Keeper's history, their protection of Earth, and the test we're about to face. Jake, we need to prepare for the biggest challenge in human history." Within hours, the crew of the Endeavor was in Geneva, addressing the United Nations General Assembly. Representatives from every nation on Earth listened as Captain Foster described their encounter with the Keepers. The reaction was mixed. Some world leaders were grateful to learn that humanity had been protected. Others were angry that the protection had been kept secret. A few refused to believe the story at all. Dr. Claire Martinez, who had discovered the original evidence of Earth's protection, was invited to address the assembly. She stood at the podium with her ice core data and explained how the scientific evidence supported everything the Endeavor crew had reported. "The geological record doesn't lie," she said firmly. "Earth has been protected from major disasters for thousands of years. The Keeper's story explains everything we've discovered." The debate that followed lasted for weeks. Some nations wanted to try to contact the Keepers and ask them to continue their protection. Others argued that humanity should accept the challenge and prove they could defend themselves. The decision was made when Dr. Lisa Brooks detected the first signs that the Keepers were reducing their protection. The energy patterns in the upper atmosphere were changing, becoming weaker and less frequent. "They're not waiting for us to decide," Dr. Brooks reported to the world leaders. "The test is beginning whether we're ready or not." Within 6 months, the effects became obvious. A solar storm that should have been deflected away from Earth struck the planet's magnetic field directly. Power grids failed across North America and Europe. Satellites went offline. Communication systems crashed. It was a wake-up call that humanity could not ignore. Jake Sullivan was put in charge of the Global Defense Initiative, a new organization that combined military forces, space agencies, and scientific institutions from every nation. Their mission was simple: prepare Earth to defend itself. The first priority was detecting threats that the Keepers had been handling invisibly. Dr. Brooks led a team that built a network of sensors to monitor space around Earth. They needed to see asteroids, solar storms, and other dangers that were heading toward the planet. Dr. Carter was assigned to study the biological effects of reduced protection. Without the Keeper's intervention, Earth would face increased radiation from space and more extreme weather patterns. Medical teams needed to prepare for new challenges. Captain Foster was given command of the first human deep space defense fleet. Using technology learned from studying the Keeper station, human engineers began building ships capable of intercepting threats far from Earth. The work was difficult, but humans proved they could adapt quickly. Nations that had been enemies for decades began working together. Scientists shared research freely. Military forces coordinated their efforts across all continents. Dr. Grant established a permanent communication link with the Keeper station. Harmony provided advice and guidance, but made it clear that humans would have to solve their own problems. "We will not intervene unless your species faces complete extinction," Harmony explained. "This test must be real. You must prove you can protect yourselves." The first major test came 2 years after the Endeavor's return. Dr. Brooks' sensors detected a massive asteroid heading directly for Earth. It was large enough to cause global devastation, the kind of impact that could end human civilization. In the past, the Keepers would have quietly deflected the asteroid away from Earth. Now, humanity would have to handle the threat alone. Jake Sullivan called an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Initiative. Representatives from every nation gathered in the command center as scientists calculated the asteroid's trajectory. "Impact in 72 hours, Dr. Martinez reported. "The asteroid will hit the Pacific Ocean. The tsunami will devastate coastal areas around the world. The dust cloud will block sunlight for months." Captain Foster studied the data. "We have 3 nuclear-powered interceptor ships in position. We can reach the asteroid in 36 hours. Colonel Torres reviewed the military options. "We have enough nuclear weapons to break the asteroid into smaller pieces. But we need to act fast." The next 3 days tested everything humans had learned about working together. The interceptor ships raced through space toward the asteroid. Ground-based lasers fired continuously, trying to change the space rock's course. Every nation contributed resources to the effort. Dr. Carter monitored the crews of the interceptor ships as they approached the asteroid. The radiation levels were dangerous, and the crews were risking their lives to save the planet. "Detonation in 10 seconds, Captain Foster reported from the lead ship. "All ships, prepare for nuclear ignition." The explosions lit up space like new stars. The asteroid broke apart, sending fragments in all directions. Most of the pieces burned up in Earth's atmosphere, creating the most spectacular meteor shower in recorded history. A few larger fragments still threatened populated areas. Ground-based defense systems, hastily built with technology adapted from the Keeper's designs, destroyed the remaining threats. When the last fragment burned up over the Atlantic Ocean, the world celebrated. Humanity had passed its first major test. Jake Sullivan stood in the command center, watching the celebration broadcasts from around the world. Dr. Martinez was beside him, tears of relief streaming down her face. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." Jake's communication device buzzed with an incoming message from the Keeper station. Harmony's voice was warm with approval. "Well done, children of Earth. You have taken your first step toward becoming protectors of the galaxy. But Jake knew this was only the beginning. The test would continue, and the challenges would become more difficult. Humanity had proven they could work together to face a crisis. But the real test was just starting. The Keepers were watching, waiting to see if Earth's children could truly become guardians of other worlds. The future of humanity, and perhaps the galaxy itself, depended on the answer. 5 years had passed since humanity's first successful asteroid defense. The world had changed in ways that Dr. Claire Martinez could never have imagined. When she first discovered the impossible data in her ice core samples, she stood in the observation deck of the orbital station New Geneva, watching Earth slowly rotate below. The planet looked peaceful from space, but Claire knew that humanity was now actively defending it from threats that had once been handled by their alien guardians. "The morning briefing is about to start," said Dr. Ryan Patterson, joining her at the observation window. He had become the director of the Global Threat Assessment Division, monitoring dangers from across the solar system. They walked together to the command center, where representatives from every nation on Earth gathered daily to coordinate planetary defense. The room was filled with screens showing data from sensors scattered throughout the solar system. Commander Jake Sullivan, now promoted to admiral, stood at the center of the room. His hair had turned gray from the stress of his responsibilities, but his eyes still held the determination that had driven him to investigate the first signs of Earth's protection. "Good morning, everyone," Jake began. "Dr. Brooks, what's the current threat assessment?" Dr. Lisa Brooks, now the head of the Space Weather Division, activated her holographic display. "We have a moderate solar storm approaching Earth. It will arrive in 18 hours. All satellites are being moved to safe positions. Power grids are prepared for temporary shutdown if necessary." Captain Amy Foster, who commanded the Deep Space Defense Fleet, reported next. "The asteroid patrol ships have completed their sweep of the inner solar system. No immediate threats detected. The Jupiter Observation Post reports normal activity in the outer system." Claire listened to the reports with a sense of pride. Humanity had learned to protect itself remarkably well. The lessons taught by the Keepers had been absorbed and improved upon. Earth was now safer than it had been even under alien protection. The most important change was happening beyond Earth's solar system. "Admiral, we have an incoming transmission from the Keepers station," reported Dr. Peter Grant, who had become the head of alien communications. Jake nodded. "Put it through." The familiar harmonic voice of Harmony filled the command center. "Greetings, children of Earth. We have been monitoring your progress with great interest." "Hello, Harmony," Jake replied. "We're honored by your continued guidance." "The honor is ours," Harmony responded. "In 5 years, you have exceeded our expectations. You have not only learned to protect your world, but you have begun to think beyond your own borders." This was true. Human space exploration had expanded dramatically since learning about the Galactic Alliance. Robotic probes had been sent to nearby star systems, looking for signs of life and potential threats. "We have a proposal for you," Harmony continued. "There is a young world in the Proxima Centauri system. The species there has recently developed agriculture and tool-making. They are at the same stage of development that Earth was when we first began protecting you." Claire felt her heart race. She knew what was coming. Their world faces a threat. Harmony explained. "A large asteroid is approaching their planet. It will impact in 6 months. Without intervention, their civilization will be destroyed before it has a chance to grow." Captain Foster leaned forward. "Are you asking us to help them?" "We are asking you to take your first step as protectors," Harmony replied. "The Keepers will provide you with the technology needed to reach their system. But the decision to help and the responsibility for their protection must be yours." Jake looked around the room at his colleagues. These were the people who had helped humanity survive its first real test. Now they were being asked to become guardians for another world. "What about the Devourers you mentioned?" Colonel Ben Torres asked. "Are they still a threat?" "They are still expanding across the galaxy," Harmony confirmed, "but they move slowly. The Alliance of Protected Worlds has been able to contain them for now, adding Earth's strength to our defenses, and eventually adding the strength of the Proxima world will help ensure the galaxy's safety." Dr. Helen Carter, who had been studying the biological data from the Keeper Station, spoke up. "If we help this world, do we become their permanent protectors?" "You guide them until they can guide themselves," Harmony explained. "Just as we guided you. This is the way of the galaxy. Each species that reaches maturity helps the next generation grow." The debate that followed was intense but brief. The people in the command center had spent 5 years learning to work together and protect their world. The idea of extending that protection to another species felt like a natural next step. Jake called for a vote. The decision was unanimous. "We accept the responsibility," Jake announced. "Earth will help protect the Proxima world." The response from Harmony carried a warmth that felt like pride and approval. "Then you have truly become our equals. Welcome to the Galactic Alliance, children of Earth." Over the following months, human engineers worked with Keeper technology to build the first interstellar protection ship. The vessel was larger than anything humans had ever constructed, powered by fusion reactors based on Keeper designs. Captain Foster was chosen to command the mission. Her crew included Dr. Carter to study the alien species, Dr. Grant to establish communication, and a team of engineers to set up protective systems around the distant world. Claire had requested to join the mission, but Jake needed her expertise on Earth. Instead, she watched from the command center as the ship departed for Proxima Centauri. The journey took 2 years, even with the advanced propulsion system. When Captain Foster's ship arrived at the distant star system, they found a world that reminded them of ancient Earth. The planet was covered with blue oceans and green continents. The inhabitants were building their first cities, developing farming techniques, and creating simple tools. They had no idea that death was approaching from space. Dr. Carter's observations showed a species that was remarkably similar to early humans. They worked together, cared for their young, and showed the same curiosity about the world around them that had driven human development. "They're just like us," Dr. Carter reported to Earth. "Same social structures, same drive to explore and learn. If they survive this asteroid impact, they could develop into something wonderful." Captain Foster positioned her ship between the planet and the approaching asteroid. Using weapons based on Keeper technology, they broke the space rock into harmless fragments. The alien world was saved, and its inhabitants never knew how close they had come to extinction. But the humans didn't stop there. Following the Keeper example, they established a hidden monitoring station in the outer part of the star system. They would watch over this world just as the Keepers had watched over Earth. Back on Earth, Claire stood in the same observation deck where she had started this journey. But now she wasn't alone. Dr. Brooks was training a new generation of space weather experts. Dr. Grant was teaching young linguists how to communicate with alien species. Admiral Jake Sullivan joined her at the window. "Any regrets about how this all turned out?" he asked. Claire smiled. "Are you kidding? 5 years ago, I was studying ice samples in a small office. Now humanity is protecting other worlds and working with an alliance that spans the galaxy. The Keepers chose well when they decided to protect us," Jake said. "No," Claire replied, watching the Earth turn slowly below them. "We chose well when we decided to accept their challenge and become protectors ourselves." A new message arrived from Captain Foster's ship. The monitoring station around the Proxima world was operational. The young civilization was safe and could continue developing without fear of Cosmic disasters. Harmony's voice filled the command center one final time that day. Earth's first protected world is secure. You have officially joined the ranks of guardian civilizations. The galaxy is safer because of your presence. Claire felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humanity had discovered why there were no natural disasters in Earth's records. They had learned that they were not alone in the universe. They had proven themselves capable of protecting their own world. Most importantly, they had chosen to extend that protection to others. That the child had become the guardian. The protected had become the protector. And somewhere in the galaxy, the ancient threat of the Devourers continued to expand. Not knowing that they now faced a new enemy, humanity had found its place among the stars. Earth's children were ready to defend not just their own world, but any world that needed protection. The Keepers had taught them well, and now it was humanity's turn to teach the next generation. The galaxy was vast, and there were many young worlds that would need guardians. Earth was ready to answer that call. Claire looked out at the stars and smiled. The universe was full of wonders, and humanity was finally ready to explore them all. The silent guardians who had protected Earth for so long could now rest knowing that their students had become teachers. The next chapter of galactic history was about to begin, and humans would help write it.